World War II air combat was raw, mechanical, and absolutely unforgiving. Before a single tank rolled or a single soldier advanced, the battle for the sky had to be won, and the tools of that trade were fighter planes. Early in the war, these aircraft were simple by today's standards. They were powered by roaring piston engines, controlled by pure muscle and steel cables, and combat was a direct, biswal affair. Pilots fought within sight of each other, where victory or defeat was decided in a matter of seconds. The Messerschmitt Bf-109 was the early definition of dominance. It climbed like a rocket, accelerated hard, and brutally punished any slower opponent it came across. Its biggest weakness, however, was its limited range, a factor that would heavily shape German strategy throughout the war. The British answer was the Supermarine Spitfire, a masterpiece of balance. It could turn on a dime, hold its energy through tight maneuvers, and absorb an incredible amount of damage. During the desperate days of the Battle of Britain, it was the Spitfire that denied the Luftwaffe air superiority through relentless, constant interception. Dogfights were terrifyingly close. Pilots tracked their enemies through the vibrating frames of their own canopy, feeling the plane through the controls. Your situational awareness depended entirely on what your eyes could see and your discipline to keep your head on a swivel. One moment of lost focus, and it was over. As the war progressed, American fighters evolved with a new priority: range. The P-51 Mustang was the aircraft that changed the very nature of the air war over Europe. Its incredible endurance allowed it to escort bombers all the way to their targets and back deep inside enemy territory. It combined blistering speed, long range, and heavy firepower, enabling a sustained, grinding pressure on enemy air forces. The war of attrition had begun. Germany responded with the Focke-Wulf 190, a rugged and powerful fighter that introduced heavy firepower and an exceptional roll rate. It posed a serious challenge to Allied fighters, especially at low and medium altitudes, forcing constant adaptation from both sides. Over in the Pacific, air combat was a different beast, defined by vast distances and unpredictable weather. The Japanese Mitsubishi Zero was designed for this environment, emphasizing incredible range and jaw-dropping maneuverability. This gave it early dominance, but it came at a steep cost. The plane had virtually no armor or protection for the pilot. As the war dragged on, survivability became paramount. Armor plating, self-sealing fuel tanks, and heavier weapons became standard. Pilots on all sides learned the hard way that a single mistake ended the fight. The line between fighter and bomber began to blur. Aircraft were now strafing enemy columns, attacking airfields, and providing direct support for advancing troops. Air superiority wasn't just about shooting down other planes. It enabled movement and operations for the entire military on land and at sea. Technology advanced at a breakneck pace. Engines grew more powerful, armament became heavier, and tactics evolved almost weekly. While jet aircraft made their debut late in the war, they arrived too late to fundamentally alter the outcome. It was the piston engine fighters that remained the decisive factor until the very end. These World War II fighters weren't just complex systems. They were direct extensions of their pilots. Skill, judgment, and raw endurance were just as critical as the machinery itself. When you watch authentic combat footage, you see these brief, violent encounters, often lasting just a few seconds, followed by an eerie silence. There were no second chances. Victory belonged to whoever saw first, turned first, and fired first. The brutal lessons learned in these hostile skies shaped modern air combat doctrine. Concepts we take for granted today, like energy management, formation, discipline, and the absolute necessity of air superiority, were all born from these battles. The legacy of these incredible machines and the brave pilots who flew them continues to define air power to this day. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this look into aviation history, be sure to subscribe for more.